Good morning everyone, welcome back here forth to our Geography Research Lab. I want to direct everyone's attention to the two photos I have just put up on the screen. So as we can see, we've got a very lush, bright, vibrant forest on this side. And this side looks a bit more dry. Some would maybe say it looks quite dead. And so I would like you to look closely at these two contrasting images. If you were selected to be a lifetime guardian of an environment such as this one, which one of these spaces look healthy, deeply cared for, and one that looks nice to be around? Yeah, so we would probably say that this one looks the healthiest, the most cared for. So today, what we are going to do, we are stepping into the shoes of real geographical investigators. So we are going to learn the secrets language across a landscape and discover what Aboriginal people mean when talking about living connections to country. So we're going to start by taking a look into our first clue. So every major scientific exploration begins with an overarching mystery, and that's where our big inquiry question comes from today. So our question is, how does the way we view a place change how we look after it? So I want you to think about it very carefully. If someone looks at an ecosystem, so we can go back to the photos that we had before, where we had the nice, beautiful forest and the not so inviting, dry landscape. If we were to look at the dry one, for example, and we can see that perhaps it's not very well cared for, there could be litter around. That is how people are going to treat it, usually. But what if someone were to look at that photo and that is their home ground, where they were brought up? So some people might be looking at that ecosystem. If we go back to it, someone is going to be looking at this and see their family, their history, their pharmacy, and their home. Every place has a connection to someone. So today, when we are looking at all our different ecosystems, we are going to be activating a massive geography word and term that is used quite commonly, and that word is interconnection. We are going to map exactly how humans, animals, plants, and water streams all lean on to each other to survive in a balance that we call sustainability. Before an investigator heads out into the field, they must assemble their specialised toolkit, and this could have a variety of different things in it. We are using today authentic primary geographical sources. In your table research pack that I gave out to you just before we started, you will find 3 distinct tools. The first one you are going to find is primary source photo packs showing real aerial and ground views of our local ecosystem. So you will see aerial shots of what is around our school. The second, a highly sophisticated cultural map tool, which in this case is the Indigenous Seasonal Calendar Wheel. And this tracks the weather patterns and animal habit shifts in cycles over the years. And finally, your third tool that you will be using is your individual field journals. So it is here where we will use the 3 tools, so your primary source photos, the Indigenous calendar, and in your individualised field journal, to collect data on how custodial responsibility, acting as guardians, keep an environment thriving, such as that beautiful rainforest that we saw earlier. So here is your first step of your mission. So in your research teams, I want you to open up your source photo packs. When you open them up, I want you to look closer than you ever have before at a picture. I want you to notice what different landmarks that you can see. I want you to find 3 natural features across the landscape that is given to you. This could be a winding creek line, a patch of ancient old growth trees, or a rocky ridge. Once you spot your different landmarks, you need to use the seasonal calendar, and I need you to spin it to the current environmental conditions. So think about it, at the moment we're in winter, so you're going to change it to windy, cloudy, rainy, cold, something like that. Yes? Perfect. Then you need to look at the wheel indicators that are on your wheel. You need to have to think about, when looking at this wheel, and the wheel will tell you what birds should be nesting in those specific trees. What are the specific trees? What native grasses should be growing near that creek bed? These are what we call the hidden connections, and it's these hidden connections that you need to log immediately into your field journals. So, how are we as geographers going to be participating today? As we know, geographers never work completely in isolation. They combine their minds in elite research teams. So, in your trios that we set up not that long ago, you each will have highly specialised roles to play, and each one of them is different. We have your map masters. If you are a map master, you are in charge of plotting coordinates and identifying exactly where our features sit spatially on the map. The second one is the eco-scribes. If you are an eco-scribe, your job is to be the official recorders of the scientific theories. Then, number 3, we have the timekeepers. You are leading the tracking of the seasonal calendar. So you will need to make sure you know how to use your calendar and making sure it aligns with the environmental conditions that we are in. I want you to make sure that you are talking to each other continuously. If your map master finds a hidden water source, ask your timekeeper what animal relies on it during this exact season. Listen deeply to each other's perspectives. It is really important. I have here my team rule. The team rule is you must be talking, you must listen and compare your clues to each other. Then you need to make sure you are talking to each other about how do the natural features rely on each other. This brings us to our final creation mission. What are you actually producing to prove your findings to the scientific community? So, your research team is going to design and draw a comprehensive curated field sketch map. So just like the excellent geographical sample that is inside of your toolkit, you will sketch your design landscape area, but you must label it using our formal geographical vocabulary. You must draw bold arrows mapping out interconnections, which, remember, were our waterfalls, rocky ridges, things like that, your creeks. Your So one of your interconnections, for example, might be showing exactly how a water source connects to a plant's habitat. Finally, you need to construct a clear, color-coded sustainability key showing which areas need custodial protection. This map is your evidence to how everything connects. When you are using your different colors and your key needs to be clear. You should not be using colors that I'm not going to be able to see. Like yellow, for example. I don't want to see that. Your reds and your blues, purples, oranges, things like that. Now, before we begin our formal class presentations and upload our final maps to our research database, I want every team to pause right now and execute a final quality check against our success criteria board. The things I want you to be discussing in your trios are, did we extract real data correctly from our primary geographical sources? You need to ask that. Did you explicitly map out how living things are interconnected with their place using directional arrows? Have a look. Are your arrows there? Finally, our field sketch clearly demonstrates how custodial generations care has helped maintain a sustainable environment. These are the three things that you need to be asking. And this last one is the most important for our research database. If your team can confidently check off all three of these points, you are officially ready. So, without further ado, let's begin the investigation. 3, 2, 1, go.